If there is a word to describe Adam Warlock mains, it is patient. You are very patient with how often you heal in order to provide consistent healing, and you are patient with your shots because you know you do decent damage and you have good range. Most of all, you're patient with your teammates. You will rarely ever get upset or argue with anyone, and usually just work in silence until you find the best hiding spot to pull the most clutch team revive ever, you know? You Angela mains really know how to be the most annoying person against the enemy, because honestly you keep going in and out of the back line more times than a millennial goes to Disneyland. Whether you actually win or not doesn't actually bother you, because you've accepted the fact that Angela only works if the enemy can't understand the concept of healing and has brain damage. I really don't know what type of hard-shaped herb you guys have been using, but you honestly move like you are on different substances every time you attack the back line. Unfortunately for you, your weakness is simply just getting countered by people simply being aware of you, and then they proceed to just counter you every time, whether or not they have anti-dive every time, and then they call you the tickle monster. Combine that with the fact that your ultimate doesn't feel very powerful and more like an extra ability with mid damage, and you're back to another season of begging Netties for more buffs because Black Panther doesn't have a very good kit in general. You can't catch a break, can you? Word of advice, if you see a thing, swap immediately. If you play Black Widow, then you're one of three things. 1. You are a thrower who decides to give up and chooses to get yourself killed as the worst character in the game because you can't handle the idea of adapting to the situation on the fly, so you just make it everybody's problem. 2. You are a troll who thinks that it's still funny to be the whole Zaza situation and play badly on purpose to get reactions out of people online for clicks. 3. You actually main Black Widow and you will go crazy on her despite the constant complaining from your teammates, even though you'll have aced the whole game, and you'll go 42-3. Unfortunately for you, you're still playing the worst character in the game, and sometimes that just isn't enough with her kit. Here's hoping for a rework in the future, because she honestly needs it. Blade players, you've been begging and praying on your hands and knees for Blade to actually be good ever since Season 3. Every season you have tried to prove the tier lists wrong every time, but it still wasn't enough, so you had to stop playing Blade for a while and play the waiting game. Also, Bloodstone basically just came along and had a better gun than you in Season 6, that ruffled your feathers, but thanks to Season 7, Blade is finally optimal. He went from being D tier into C tier, so congratulations. You still aren't the top, but you'll work with what you got. I applaud you, you know? You really stuck it out. My glorious kings in green. Things have not been easy for S-Hulk players, I'll tell you that. We'll be good in one season and then unoptimal in the next. It's all just not fair. We thought everything was going good for us this season, in early Season 7, until, the dreaded tenacity meter was introduced, and the juggle combo during monster form was no longer possible. Throw that in with the lack of new skins since Season 0, and you start feeling as neglected by Netties as Hulk is neglected by Marvel in general. I mean, we're not terrible per se, it's just that we're not as good as we should be. Maybe next season, buds. Hopefully we can get a new legendary. Here's hoping, fingers crossed. Yes, Captain Flea. Jumping around and biting you when you least expect it, just to come back and doing the same thing over and over again in the name of justice and freedom. You're pretty good with what little you got and use it to the fullest, But previous seasons proved Cap got worse every time a new character showed up. This new season decided to curl the monkey's paw and make Cap better at the cost of the tech that he could do seasons prior. Now, unlike Black Panther, you can go from a tickle to the punch that hurts but doesn't put people on the ground. Now, if only you could just hold still, that'd be great, because I'm tired of you jumping around all the time. Cloak and Dagger mains will always say the most, and they will do the absolute least. They will always act like they do everything and will complain over issues with the easiest solutions possible. 9 times out of 10, Cloak and Dagger mains will have over 500 hours or maybe 250 hours on the game, and over 100 of those hours will be on this character. And every other character hasn't even cracked 50. You get no respect because you don't earn it. Learn your place and stay in your lane. To all of you Daredevil mains, I am begging you, please go outside and take a stroll through nature. Learn to take your time and enjoy life, because the way you play this game makes me think you might be the most miserable and aggressive person imaginable. I tell you this not out of negativity and spite, but out of concern. Please take a break from this game and stop arguing with random strangers online. Please, I'm begging you. Your family probably wants you to stop too, for their sake, please. If you play Deadpool, you have a pretty good chance of being annoying in real life as you are in game. You're either stuck healing because Heal Pool is actually one of the better healers, or Tank Pool because Tank Pool is one of his better things and is actually a pretty good tank role, because honestly DPS Pool kinda sucks. Honestly, you're lucky your ultimate is decent, and the bounce and charge ability that you do where you bounce on the people's heads and stuff gets on the enemy's nerves. Still doesn't mean you're not annoying though. Can you stop talking? If you play Doctor Strange, you know how to take charge, and you know how to solve most situations. Even if they have a counter to you, it doesn't matter, because you'll just find a way to work around it without even swapping. You have most likely been playing Strange since Season 0 or Season 1, and you will be carrying your team with your ultimates every single match. You will most likely get a lot of MVPs, and you will be doing everything, and I mean everything, especially if you're left solo tanking. Yeah, things are no longer fish and chips for you now that the ultimate isn't as good as it was last season, huh? Combine that with all the other buffs everyone else got, you're stuck with being good instead of being at the top. In all honesty, you're not that bad, all to be around in a match. I mean, come on, at least you're not a Daredevil player, or even worse, Spider-Man. Just don't try and think that you can get anyone else in a Glartrox trap like you could before. You can't do it anymore as good, because everyone's just predicting where you're going around. If you're an Emma main this far into the game's life cycle, you're most likely not one of those people that were obsessed with her for a week in Season 2 because she was pretty. And you play her because she's actually a consistently good tank no matter what season. Even if she gets nerfed, she's still pretty good in most situations, and you couldn't be any happier and in your lane. Honestly, you will be dealing with idiots on your team, but that's fine because you just accepted it, and you will be hauling ass the entire time and working overtime because your teammates are incredibly incompetent. You're the only one doing all the shielding and the damage and the peeling, and then you're stuck wondering why everyone is just ignoring the fact that you're the only one who's doing their job. There's a saying that Gambit players are secretly DPS players that decided to play a healer character, and honestly, that's only half true. You're definitely a more offensive healer, that's true, but you're just more active and more often going out of your way in order to move around as much as possible. You're more cooperative with your teammates than any of the other healers, and nobody notices because half of your kit has offensive properties, and you have one of the better healer ults in the game that just makes them all more aggressive. So they just assume that you're one of those DPS players that really wanted to branch out a bit, but you still wanted to play a DPS type character. If you played Groot, you probably clanked 90s on Fortnite and thought Groot was a good choice for you because you love the idea of trapping people within the walls and watching them struggle to escape when they don't have the ability to get out, like mice in a cage. You absolutely dread the possibility of them having a Punisher or a Squirrel Girl because you spent all that time making the Great Wall of Groot and don't want it to fall. At least you got one of the best CC ults in the game. If only your team would actually help follow up on it and kill the enemy, right? I have no fear of regular Hawkeye players. I have the fear of Lord Hawkeye players. The reason why is because you will get headshots no matter where you are, how far I go, you're just always gonna get me. You Hawkeye players always manage to get under my skin simply because you do better than me and it makes me envious. There have been many times when a Hawkeye player does so well, I wished every Hawkeye player would get their fingernails ripped off. That only shows how well you guys do every time, even if you get nerfed. So whatever you're doing, it works. And honestly, can you please stop? If you play Hela, you probably still think she's just as good as she was back in Season 0 and Season 1. You think your point-and-click aiming skills you honed in an aim trainer will be enough to stop the enemies until you start getting stomped by a diver or someone with a shield. Honestly, she's not terrible, but definitely not as strong as she was before, and you only really will be needed unless Namor needs a team-up. Lord Hellas are a bit scary though, so you gotta beware of them. The time has finally come for you and the other Torch mains to rise up, because you have been blessed by the patch notes with actual buffs, so you're no longer in the same bottom tier as Black Widow. You've never really felt better since people don't really know how to deal with you, since it's been so long since anyone saw an actual Torch in action. Hopefully this win for you guys will actually last a while, because honestly with how dry everything's been for multiple seasons, I felt bad for you guys. If people think Gambit is the healer for DPS players, they are mistaken heavily, because you Invisible Woman players are some of the most aggressive and kill-hungry healers I have ever seen in this game. I mean, when I see more Invisible mains in the front line than in the back, and they have the gall to ask why they don't get protection when it's their fault for going up too far, I start to get a bit crazy. And what's worse is that they never blame themselves and will always argue with the team for no other reason than they have a massive ego. Like Cloak and Dagger mains, you have no respect. I have no respect for you because you don't bother to earn it, and you don't try. Do better. The original dive demon you loved playing in Season 0 is finally viable now because of these new buffs and the patch notes. From my experience, you guys are pretty humble and you do your job well most of the time. You're definitely a fan of martial arts movies with Bruce Lee and stuff, and you listen to all sorts of martial arts music, and you're making Bruce Lee noises when you get a kill because you just love having that fantasy of living all your favorite martial arts movies, and you just love punching things, and you just boom, 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 loving all of those punches on the tanks too, and they just scramble because they don't know how to stop you.